afternoon, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for joining us for the Center for Teaching and Learning College Hour. Very pleased to have you all. My name is Brenda Valles. I'm the Dean for Institutional Effectiveness and Innovation, where the CTL sits. And it is my privilege to join you with this conversation of education and our journeys and where life takes us. So I'm going to allow them to introduce the panel, to introduce themselves, and then I'm going to ask them some questions. After we have a conversation, then I'll open it up for a conversation between you and the panel. That sound good? All right, so please introduce yourself, and then we'll get started with the first question, which is, what has been your educational journey to this point, and what is the next step? So you introduce yourselves, and then what has been your educational journey to this point, and what is next?
Hello. All right. So, hey, my name is Juan Aguilar. I'm currently a research analyst for the Research Office of Institutional Effectiveness and Innovation. My educational journey has been non-traditional, for sure. I didn't go to college right after high school. I went straight into the workforce and worked a lot of blue-collar work. Eventually, I did decide to come back to American River College. I was a student here as well. I completed my lower division here before transferring to Sacramento State. Yeah, that's my introduction.
I hate microphones, so bear with me. I am Ryle, and I am currently the Administrative Assistant for Institutional Effectiveness and Innovation. Like Juan, I had a very non-traditional journey. I started in community college in 1998 and messed it up entirely, and then realized I was going nowhere and came back at 30 and spent far too much time here at American River College because I love this place, and got several degrees here, and then transferred to Sac State, got my undergrad in sociology, and now I'm in the master's program for education, equity, and social justice with a focus on gender equity.
Hello, my name is Erin. I started my educational journey here at American River College. I too did not go to college right out of high school. I actually am a licensed cosmetologist. I did hair for 6 years. I was behind the chair, and then I ended up, and that was in Colorado. I moved back to Sacramento. I was born and raised here. And I was still in the beauty industry and just felt completely, it got to a point where I felt completely out of place. I felt like I wasn't living up to my full potential. I loved doing hair. I loved serving people and making people feel beautiful, and that's where I figured out that I love helping people. But I felt like hair wasn't doing that for me anymore. So I was in retail, had no idea what I wanted to do with my life, and I just one day decided I wanted to go to college. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. I did not know anything about college. I didn't even think that I would transfer to a four-year university. I honestly, and I can't remember, but I don't even really think that I understood what that meant at the time, until I met with a counselor here, and she was like, what do you want to do? Do you want to transfer? I'm like, what do you mean? And she's like, to a four-year university. I'm like, maybe. So my major here was transfer to a four-year for a while. And then I took my first sociology course and realized that's what I'm going to major in. So I became a sociology major. I transferred to Sac State. Ryle and I actually started at Sac State together, graduated together. We are now in the same grad program, so I'm also getting my master's in education, equity, social justice, with the focus on gender equity. I forgot to say, I currently work here as the clerk for the Writing Center. That's where I'm at. I'm in the LRC. Starting here and working here has really ignited my passion for serving students. So that is why this is where I will be as long as they will keep me. I hope to become faculty someday. But right now I just want to be here. This is where I want to be. I want to serve students. Ryle and I were both mentors at Sac State. That's where we discovered that helping students and from diverse backgrounds, because we've got a lot of barriers that you figure out once you're in it. Like, oh my gosh, there's these barriers. We overcame all of them. We're now getting our masters. Never in a million years. I didn't even think I was going to transfer to a 4-year university, let alone be in a grad program. So it's 100% possible. We did it, so that's why we're here. We want to just let everybody know that it's 100% possible, even if you don't believe that. And this is a great place to start. So that's why we work here now. We got our associates from here, and then we transferred, and now we work here. We just couldn't get enough of it. So.
Thank you for your introductions. I have a follow-up question. You mentioned the transfer process as one of the steps that you experienced. What was that process like, and what was one very helpful piece of advice that you got to navigate that process? And you mentioned counseling. What are some other pieces?
Well, similarly like the panelists here, I had no idea what transferring was in the beginning. I thought that you would just come to ARC, spend 2 years and get your associate's degree, and then apply at Sacramento State. Then I did some research and I realized that you can use your credits here and take them over with you at Sacramento State. It was messy for me, honestly. I should have sought more help. I'm a very stubborn guy. I thought I could figure it out on myself, and let me tell you, seek as much help as you possibly can. I feel like there's a lot of help and support here at American River College for you to try and guide you there. I am first generation as well, so I had no prior knowledge of the educational system. Once I landed to Sacramento State, I felt like it was a completely different dynamic than here at American River College. The courses were much more difficult, in my opinion, and I think you really need to focus on organizational skills once you do transfer over there. As for the administrative practices of it, I feel like that was the most difficult part of it, is figuring out what exactly I needed to do, send over the transfers over to Sac State, and I feel like that's why it's best to seek out some help from counseling. It would have been much easier for me.
Juan, did you say you thought the classes here were harder, or?
No, I feel like the classes at Sac State were a bit more difficult, yeah.
So I've had the opposite experience, where my classes here were much harder than at Sac State. After leaving here, I was expecting the worst, and it was much easier. But the transfer process, I think, it started out messy for me, but then I realized I needed help, and I started asking for help. Originally, I had no intentions of transferring. I knew it was an option, and I said, no, thank you. I don't want to. I'm scared. And it was partly a big push from that gentleman in the back that got me to transfer. And it was the faculty here that helped me. I found out that seeking out the faculty, going to office hours, that was the key to me being successful in transferring and being successful at Sac State. All of the professors here guided me once I sought them out. But it's definitely confusing at first. So the minute you get confused, the minute you don't know an answer, just go ask. It's that easy.
So my transfer process, I feel like, was actually really smooth. And I think it started with my counselor that I had here. I requested her every time. So I worked with the same counselor every time. She created an ed plan for me, made sure all of my classes were transferable. I took the minimum amount of units to transfer. So I did my 60 units and I was out. I was at Sac State. And as far as the classes, the difficulty of classes, I don't really believe that they're more difficult, or I think and I don't think that at Sac State, at least in our program, they were more difficult. It's just a different dynamic. It's just different. And like Ryle said, the best advice, first, actually, I'm gonna back up and start off by saying that I feel like as transfer students, we already have a leg up when we get to Sac State or wherever you transfer, because you've already been doing this for 2 years. You know how to manage your time. You know how to keep up with your grades. You know what the expectations are for the most part for professors. So, you know, as opposed to freshmen going straight to a four-year university, and I'm biased because when I was in high school, my English teacher, she said, if you don't have a scholarship or you don't care about living in the dorms or getting that college experience, you know, that four-year university experience, she's like, go to community college and get your general ed done first, and then go to the four-year university. That to me was the best advice because I felt so much more prepared to transfer to the university. So when I got there, and like Ryle said, go to office hours. Even here, even office hours are so important. And when you're in in-person classes, sit in the front, get to know your professors, because that will 100% have a huge, profound effect on your trajectory as far as your grades, as far as your connections, your resources. Your professors are not just there to get you in, give you a grade, and get you out. They're there to help you, and not just by teaching you. They are 100% your best resources. So really get to know your professors. Me and Ryle, when we went to Sac State, we sat in the front of every class. We went to office hours, and we still have connections with our professors, and it's really all about, like, our social capital is because, you know, we knew how to learn use the resources that were available to us. So I 100% had a super positive experience as a transfer student. I wouldn't have had it any other way. My child, I've already told him, hey, if you want to stay here and you want to stay local, you're going to be a Beaver, and you're going to go to ARC, and then you're going to transfer and become a Hornet like mom. And he's already like, yep, because he knows that I had such a positive experience here and at Sac State. And I think my positive experience at Sac State had everything to do with the fact that I had a great experience here, and it really did prepare me to transfer. So if you're wondering about, well, granted, you guys are already transfer students, but if you guys already if you have people asking, like, you know, they're just getting out of high school, should I go straight to a four-year university? Like, I'm gonna be the one to say, go to community college first and transfer. I cannot say enough positive stuff about my experience, so.
So as you're talking about your journey through transferring, and all of you now are in graduate programs, talk with us a little bit about, where did you hear about it? When you're a first generation student, or maybe you've had a different route through your educational experience, that might not be something that we're aware of. What does it mean? What do you do with that? What is it like? Where did you first learn about it? And talk a little bit about what that experience has been like to be in graduate school.
So I first heard about graduate school during my first course at ARC. It was a general principles course. I was in the psychology program. Usually in psychological research, it's best to go and seek postgraduate education, which I didn't know coming into psychology. But I thought, because I was a first year, I wasn't looking so ahead into graduate school. I just knew that I needed to make it past this first couple of years and get an associate's degree, being on first generation. As I advanced into upper division at Sacramento State, that's when I started to get more hands-on experience with research, and I started to better understand what graduate school was. And the way that I like to see grad school is hands-on practical work deep into the research that you're interested in, more so than a program. And I feel like, that was my introduction to graduate school.
So I think, I don't remember when originally learned about grad school. I remember understanding that there were different degrees, and I remember thinking that if you're getting a master's degree or a PhD, you have to be a genius. I remember thinking anyone I met with a master's degree or higher was somehow brilliant and better than me. And I had myself convinced I couldn't. And then, as with the rest of my folks up here, I came to ARC, and all of a sudden people started telling me, when you get your master's. No, I don't even want to get my bachelor's. And that's when I started asking more questions and started to understand that getting your master's is just another step. It's not, I can't speak for other programs, but my program is certainly not any harder than undergrad was. The most complicated part is the thesis, and even that seems fairly simple because it's being broken down into chapters, right? It's just individual papers smashed together over the course of 2.5 years. So I lost track of what I was doing, but so it was just asking questions. I was scared. I was confused. I didn't even know what it meant to transfer. I didn't know how I was going to get through my bachelor's, and every step I was just, this is easier and easier and easier. And then applying to grad school was easy too. It was fill out this information and submit a short essay about why you want to do this. And I think if you're already thinking about grad school, you already know why you want to do it, and that should come pretty easily. For our program, it wasn't competitive, so it was just, if you fill out this application, you're in. Which maybe I shouldn't be announcing that, but fill up our grad program, it's great.
So the way that I learned about grad school was because we were sociology majors at Sac State, and they had workshops every so often about how to get into grad school, or what was it called, like how to be successful, or how to apply to grad school. And every time they did one, I think I may have even attended one, I can't remember, just out of curiosity, because the professors that were facilitating it were like my favorite professors. So I was like, all right, but never in that time did I ever feel like I was capable of going to grad school, because I have severe imposter syndrome, I will admit that. I've been taking college like one step at a time. It started off as like, oh, I just want to go to college. Okay, I think I kind of like college, so I'm going to get my associates. Oh wait, I can transfer, there's more? Okay, I'm going to go get my bachelor's. Worked my butt off getting my bachelor's, and then by that time I was like, going beyond that, I'm done. I can't. And then I've got a best friend here who was like, no, you're getting your master's and we're doing it together. So I honestly don't think that I would have done it if it wasn't for Ryle, and I couldn't be more grateful that he gave me that push. And Ryle was saying like our grad program, getting into it was really easy, and we do have a pretty chill grad program, but there are competitive programs, and the requirements are different for every program. So with our program, you could either do a thesis or a project, which the project is essentially just applied research. The thesis is the research. There's other programs where you could just take an exam and get your master's. There's ones where I think social work it's a lot of like clinical stuff. You're doing like, you're in the field, and that's how you get, so it's just really about looking at the different grad programs. They all have websites that you guys can go to with the information, read about them, and find out what appeals to you. And I will say, you guys are fully capable of doing any grad program, whether it's competitive or not, whether it's more strenuous or not. And I believe, and this is my opinion, I believe that grad school, at least so far, has been easier for me than undergrad. And it's because once you get to grad school, you get to find what you're interested in, and you get to dedicate all of your time and energy to that. And you get to do research on it, and you get to dive deep into something that you're passionate about. As with undergrad, you know, you've got to take your general ed, you've got to take your electives, you've got to kind of take, you know, you've got to take all these different classes, but you're hyper focused on what you're passionate about and what you're interested in when you go to grad school. So to me, it's easier. I'm not as stressed. It's stressful because now we're working and we're going to school after we get out of work. And when I was in undergrad, I didn't work. I took like full load every semester. I think one semester I took like 18, 19 units. I mean, I went full throttle. I commend those of you who can work and go to school in undergrad, or those that have to. I'm very blessed, and I was in a situation where I was able to just go to school. But grad school is great. Our experience so far has been amazing. So please look into it. Look at all the programs that are available to you, and know that you can do it for sure, because I'm doing it. So what does that tell you?
Yeah, I'd also like to add as well that the material in grad school surprisingly is easier than that of undergrad. Because you're already coming into the program with the knowledge needed from undergrad, the majority of the work is just studying, but more practical, like poster stuff and reading a lot. So, yeah, do not be intimidated by grad school.
Great. So you've been sharing some wonderful advice for us as we're navigating our process. You also shared some wonderful encouragement about how accessible graduate school can be, and you've shared what you've navigated to get there, things like imposter syndrome. A couple of questions that come up that's just technical. What is research? What is research? If you're talking about it in relationship to graduate school, what is it?
We're gonna let Juan handle this whole thing because he works for research, and I do not. I do, but not in his capacity.
Research at graduate school.
I would describe research as a process to answer any question that you may be curious about. And in research, there are steps that are needed to be taken to have your research question answered. But on the way there are many ways to do so in obtaining answers to your question. There's a process of going out and collecting information, analyzing the information to synthesize insight. I guess that's how as basically as I can describe research.
So what I wanted to add to that is, okay, so when I was, and I'm a sociology major, so I'm a little bit embarrassed to admit this, but all through undergrad, I was like, I hate research. I don't want to do research methods. And I'm a sociology major, but then that's why, then we get to grad school and it's research. Now I'm doing a thesis. Okay, so people who don't really want to go like the straight up research route and they want to do more applied, then they do a project. And I'm like, oh no, I want to create a survey and I want to collect data and I have this question that I want an answer to, and I want to go out and find that answer, and I want to contribute to you identify a problem, and then you ask a question, and it's something you really want to know. So then you get to go out and you get to find that answer, and to know that it could help other people and break barriers is amazing. So to me, research is not scary anymore. It's actually super exciting. You get to find something that you're curious about, even identify a problem, and then you get to go out and either find out how to come up with solutions for that problem or understand that problem on a deeper level. So to me, that's what research is, and it's not scary anymore, at least to me. It's actually really, really meaningful, because you get to answer a question and you get to find the answer to these questions, and along the way you get to learn so much about all these other things, because it has all these other things that come into play that you'll learn through your research. Like, oh, I didn't even know that was related. So it really just opens up all these doors, and it really just ignites your imagination and your curiosity. So it's great. I love research now.
Alright, so I will say about research that as it relates to grad school, I hated writing papers in undergrad. I hated writing papers here while earning my AA. I hated doing the research for it, but now I love it because I'm focusing on what I'm interested in. No one's assigning me a topic. No one's telling me what I have to write about. I get to write about whatever I want, as long as it's accurate, as long as I don't make things up. So as it relates to grad school, I think research is fantastic. For me, it just has come down to, I have a question that I want answered. What's the answer? Like, that's it. It's the same thing as when you want to know how tall your favorite actor is, right? You just Google it. I have a question, what's the answer? It just changes based on how long it's going to take you to find the answer. But it's always about what you want to learn, not what somebody else is telling you to learn.
Thank you. I have one more technical question and then a closing question, and then I want us to have a conversation together. I'm sure there are questions in the audience, and we get an opportunity to have experts that are currently there in the moment and have navigated it, and were once in ARC seats as students. So this is such a wonderful opportunity. So my last question, the technical one, is how do you balance work and school as a grad student? Deep sighs, I know. And then the closing question, so you can choose which one you want to answer, or you can answer both, is what is next? I'll go first.
Okay.
We've been making Juan go first for every question, so it's like, I'll do this one. So my situation is pretty unique. Like I've previously mentioned, I'm very blessed. I have a very supportive family. We are very close, so they help me, take care of my son when I need to work and go to school. But what I've noticed with students that I come across that are juggling all these things and don't have the support that I have, they are the and then they're navigating it. Actually, I mean, if they're struggling, then they're doing a really good job at making it look like they're not struggling. I've noticed a common denominator here is these students utilize the resources that are made available to them. You have a lot of support here at ARC. I'm not just a clerk for the Writing Center. I have students that come to me and they can talk to me about things. I connect them to other resources. If I personally am not the correct resource, I will walk them over to the resource that can best help them. We are here to serve you. There are resources, and this is something that I didn't mention before that I forgot. When I was here, it was right after the pandemic, so it was, a lot of the classes were still primarily online. So I did my whole associates online. I actually wasn't aware of all of these resources that I'm aware of now. So I will shout it from the rooftops. Now that I know about these things and I'm also a part of these things, use the resources that are available to you. We are here to help you. Your professors are here to help you. The staff is here to help you. And those students that utilize the resources, go to office hours, communicate with their professors and the staff here at ARC or anywhere, tend to be the most successful no matter what they're going through, no matter whether they have work or children. So that's the best advice I can give. And like I said, I'm blessed, but also when I got to Sac State, I did utilize the resources that I was, that were available to me there, and that helped a lot. I made connections, made my best friend, and we helped each other through it. Connect with your fellow classmates and your professors, and just make those connections, because when you have a support system that you may not have in your personal life or at home, it can feel like home at school as well when you're getting your education. So that's the best advice I can give, because not everybody's going to have the support that I do in my personal life, you know, with my family and stuff. So you have resources, use them, use them, use them.
I think Aaron covered a lot of it. Balancing work and grad school is difficult at times and incredibly easy at times. It depends on the week. You know, if I have a big paper due on Friday, and my work week is going to feel much more stressful because I know when I'm done, I have to go home and work on this paper. Any other week, anytime I don't have anything big to do, it's not really a balance. We have class once a week.
I have class twice a week.
And then I have an online class. So that doesn't take up a whole lot of my time. And there's not a whole lot of paper writing. There's not a whole lot of busy work. In fact, I don't think we've had any homework. No.
Just a paper, like at the end of the semester, which, and the papers are actually helping us build on our thesis. So there's a reason for it. It's not just a paper. It's helping us with our thesis.
Yes. You know, sometimes it's stressful, and sometimes you have to let something slide. I think in my online class, I think I missed a discussion board. But I'm not going to beat myself up over that because I'm working full-time and getting my master's, and sometimes things get overlooked. My husband has been very helpful in helping me keep things balanced. When I'm getting too stressed, they calm me down. When I'm not doing enough, they harass me. Don't you have a paper due? Don't forget your quiz today. Somehow they remember my schedule better than me. I'm not sure how that works. And Aaron keeps me on track. So as Aaron said, build a community. Let them support you. Don't resist that. Don't be stubborn. Don't be independent, because you don't have to do it alone. And I think that's the key, having people there to help you.
Work-life balance, let's see. So since the beginning of my education, I had to work full-time and come to school part-time and at times full-time. My advice would be to rethink what's important to you in time management. Because when you do work full-time and you go to school full-time, there are things you're going to have to cut off that are just not as important anymore. So I think that's the biggest thing, is figuring out what's important and what you want to keep in your life and what you have time for. Fortunately, though, you can work with your professors and talk to your professors, and they will help you throughout the way when you feel like you're a little behind. But it's all dependent by program as well. And what I found, going back to the previous question about research, the beauty of research is that you can get into any field that you're passionate about, any field that you want to get into, if you set your mind to it. And when you're in the field doing work that you love to do, it doesn't really feel like work, because you're enjoying what you're doing at school. That's all I got.
What's next? Besides the patients.
Nah. Okay, Casey. What's next is hopefully I'm here as a professor. Hopefully I'm at some community college somewhere as a professor. Community college saved my life. The people here saved my life. And I would like to be the person I needed for others. So, big picture, that's what's next. That may involve more school later. if Erin gets her way. Right now, what's next is next semester and getting through my thesis. And then graduating and enjoying that for a moment. And celebrating that I don't have work and school. And then hopefully being successful. I think that's what's next for most of us.
What's next for me is to get through my thesis, and then take a break, because I have not taken a break from the time I started here to now. That's been straight from my associates to Sac State, then my master's, no breaks. I want to take a break, and then I would like to get my PhD. And since Ryo voluntold me to get my master's, I will volunteer him to get his PhD. He's not allowed to be against it because I wasn't allowed to be against getting my master's. So we will both be getting our PhDs, but I do plan on taking a break and working my way up here for a while, and then hopefully be a professor here someday. But yes, I will be taking a break from education for a little bit, and then I'll get the ball rolling again eventually, because I want to get that PhD.
You know, I'm kind of in the same boat here. I'm not sure, you know? I'm very much like y'all, just taking it one step at a time. You know, I was an ARC student at once, and I'm taking it one step at a time, although Brenda does push me to try and go back to my PhD sometimes. Yeah.
Erin can volunteer you too.
Yeah, you have to get to. We have enjoyed hearing your experiences and your journey and your advice. And so I want to open it up, because if there are any questions about any part of the journey, or if anyone wants to hear a little bit more about a part of their experience, yeah, this is a good opportunity for this. Are there any questions?
I think I have one. So we work in ESL Center, and we have so many like first-gen students, and one of the most common question that I get, or we all get, is why do I need undergraduate or graduate school? Like, why can I stop an associate degree and just like what opportunities do you get when you go to undergraduate or graduate school?
Sorry, I'm like,
leave you in the capable hands of the world's best mentor.
so you can absolutely stop after you get your associate's degree, but you will not have as many opportunities opened up for you. The networking that you get to be involved in when you, the higher you go in your education, also professionally, it will help you in the long run. Professionally, you will make more money, you will make more connections, you will have more resources available to you. Education is so much more than just, I mean, primarily learning, but it's so much more. It's an experience, and it becomes a major part of your life. You make friends, you make connections. It could actually determine where you end up professionally someday. It's gonna help open up doors for you to figure out what you wanna do. So I wouldn't be here and it's funny because I am alumni from here, but I would not be working here if I didn't continue my education, because through my continuing education, I realized education is my passion. I really learned what my passions were. So it's not just about going and getting additional degrees. It's an entire experience, and it opens up so many more doors for you. Ryle, like you mentioned, he was very comfortable here, and he didn't mention this, but he got 7 associate's degrees from here. He would have never transferred if he didn't have somebody give him that push, and that's kind of what we want to be for you guys today, is to give you that push so you don't end up spending so many years. That's great. He's really educated, right? Really educated, and he's got a degree in just about anything. Any question you have, if you go to Riley, he'll have an answer for you, because he's gotten a degree in just about every field, but I can't speak for Ryle as far as like why he believes that you should go and continue your education, but just what I've witnessed, Ryle he was kind of stagnant, you know what I mean? And now all these doors have opened up for him, and now he works here and he's super successful. And I really feel like him continuing in his education just continues to help him with the upward mobility, continue to grow and become just a better, more successful person.
So Aaron is, as usual, correct about how education can expand your world. But if you need a more logical way of looking at it, a simpler way of looking at it, it's that education will make you better at your future career, right? So yeah, you can graduate from here and start working. Or you can just spend another 2 years and earn your bachelor's and gain more skills and make yourself more marketable. That's more money. The same with grad school. It's just, okay, here's a couple more years. For what? To earn more money, to be more successful. I am not the person who thinks money is the key to everything, but it's certainly nice to be able to pay my rent. And that's part of it for me. Like, part of it is I love learning. Clearly, I did not spend 12 years as a student here because I hate learning. But the continuing part, the getting my master's, is jointly, I love learning. I love this topic. I want to study this topic. I will probably continue to learn about this topic even after I graduate. And it's also because I would eventually like to buy a house. And if you have these aspirations, then it just makes more sense to go further in your education.
I'd echo that, of course, professional and financial reasoning. But also, I mean, I'm a huge nerd, you know, I'm not sure if I have fellow nerds here. But the pursuit of knowledge for me is actually one big reason why I wanted to continue my education. Specifically in psychology, I mean, it's super interesting to know why people think the way they do and they perceive things the way they do, you know? So, yeah, pursuit of knowledge.
There's one more question. Do you pay for your grad school?
Do we pay for grad school?
How do you pay for grad school?
Oh, how do we pay for grad school?
Like, I mean, it's very hard to work full-time and study, as we understand now. But for graduate school, I know that FAFSA doesn't cover it, even if you have it. So probably you have to pay out of pocket. It wasn't your experience or not.
So I'm probably not the best person to answer this question because I've been very lucky in that I spent the first half of my life disabled, and I worked really hard to overcome that. And because of that, the Department of Rehabilitation is paying for my classes. But financial aid does cover grad school to some extent. And I think that's something most people don't know. But since I'm not going that route, and I know Erin is, I'll let her answer that.
So I don't know all the ins and outs of the financial aid part of it. I can only speak to my experience. I was completely stressed out when it came to grad school because Ryle was pushing me, and then I'm like, yeah, but yours is paid for. You don't have. I had the same thinking. I'm like, financially, it's not going to pay for me to go to grad school, so you get to go and have it paid for, and that's great. But what am I going to do? So I applied, and then I kept. What did I do, Ryle? I added Sac State back to my FAFSA. Again, for like another, you know, like you do every so often or whatever year. And then it's covering it. Well, I'm getting the loans, but it's federal work study, I think it was. And I know things are going to change because I just got an email. The Department of Education is making changes. I don't know what it's going to look like for me here come July is when they said the change was going to be. So, but so far, I know you get a certain amount of financial aid, right? Like, because your financial aid ran out because you spent a lot of it here. He was here for a lot of years, right? So I used the minimum, right, while I was here, and I did my 60 units and then I transferred. So I think that gave me a little bit more wiggle room. I didn't have to retake any classes. I didn't like drop any classes. So I had, I think, a little bit of wiggle room, which helps. But you absolutely can't get financial aid for grad school. If you happen to be disabled, or definitely look into that, because that's the route. You can get your education paid for. There's resources, plenty of resources for you in that realm. And then there's also scholarships. And Sac State, what I will say is they're really good about making sure that they give us the information on scholarships. One of our classmates, he was one of our sociology classmates, formerly incarcerated. I think he spent, 30 years in prison. Started at Sac State. He was told about all these different scholarships and he applied for every single one of them. Now he's getting grad school paid for. He's got his apartment, he's got his car. He's like working at Sac State now. There are resources other than just financial aid. He did a lot of his just on scholarships. It is time consuming, and I wish I would have spent more time applying for, doing the scholarship route, but there are resources. Me personally, I'm using financial aid. I pulled out loans, but so it is. I had the same thinking. I thought, oh, FAFSA's not going to cover it, but I'm doing it. So
I think Deanna's getting grants.
yeah, our classmate, she's also in our grad program, and our cohort, she's grants. I think a few of mine are grants too. Because I have a child, I know a lot of that. I'm a single mom. I get grants based on that too. So they really try to do everything possible to get you the money that you need to be able to continue your education. So at least as of right now, I don't know after July the changes, but
There's also different institutions. So if you continue, and it depends on the institution and it depends on the discipline. But if you continue into a PhD level or a terminal degree, you can get assistantships where part of your tuition is covered and you get a small stipend. Typically that's not for the master's level, but there are some programs where it might be as well. But usually that's more for the PhD level at a research institution. You can do an assistantship and you can get a small stipend, but also have teaching experience, and they cover your tuition. So it depends on a lot of different factors too. So I just wanted to add to that.
Thank you.
Question?
I had a question for you as someone that spent a lot of time here before you transferred. Can you think of a time or a situation or a scenario when you did transfer that really made you feel like you belonged at Sac State?
It was the first week of classes in my first semester at Sac State, and I walked into a class. It was Soc 193A, which is also known as Soc Circle. It is a mentoring class, and I stepped in as a mentee and didn't know what to expect. All I knew was I needed help feeling comfortable at Sac State. And when I sat down, I didn't have a mentor yet. They don't assign me one for the first 2 or 3 weeks. And all of the mentors were so kind to me and helped me figure out what I was doing and gave me advice. And it was that first day of that class that I realized, oh, I do fit in here, because I felt completely out of place as an older student. And there was such a wide variety of people there, and such a wide variety in the class willing to help. And I think it was making those connections with other people in a somewhat controlled environment, right? I didn't have to go seek them out. They were just there to help me. And I know there are multiple mentor programs at Sac State in different departments. But that was, I think, the key for me.
Yeah, I'd also like to add to that because I had a similar experience as well. It was either the first or second week of my first semester that I contacted a professor in the classroom on wanting to join her lab, and I felt very welcome that like I did belong there as well, being a non-traditional parent, you know. But yeah, I wouldn't be intimidated to reach out to as many people as you can, especially your classmates as well, because I feel like the demographics when I got there were very similar to myself as well. There's a lot of non-traditional students as well.
Any final questions? I think to close out, if there are any other questions from you all, and if there's anything else you'd like to add, I think one closing question that I would love to hear from you is, what would you tell yourself if you could tell yourself as the ARC student before starting the transfer process? Knowing what you know now, what would you tell yourself? What bit of advice would you say to yourself?
You can do anything that you want to do. There is nothing that you are incapable of doing if it is something that you set out to do. You are smart, you are capable, and you have a support system strong enough to be able to get you to where you want to go, especially within yourself. And you love yourself.
So, looking back, I think the one thing I would say to myself was stop being a big baby and just do it. Like, that's it. But I was terrified. And I was being a big baby about it, and I kept convincing myself that I just wanted to learn more here and earn more associate's degrees. And to what end? What good did that do me? I mean, yeah, I have the knowledge, but yeah, so just stop being afraid and do it.
It gets easier. I think that's what I would tell myself.
Yes.
The hardest part is just doing it and stepping out the door every day. Yeah, it does get easier.
Thank you for sharing.